We got Troy Vincent, Executive Vice President of Football Operations for the NFL, joining us on the show. Super excited to have you on. How are you doing, good sir?
I'm happy I'm coming on. My wife been working me this morning, man. The yard, I'm moving trash, recycling. I said my interview starts at 12:30, so I need to go upstairs and get ready. She said, "Well, when you finish, hurry up back down so you can move this wheelbarrow."
That's how I go, baby. That's how I go. What's up, Troy?
What's up? What's up, Plex? How you doing?
Man, everything's beautiful, man.
We
Where
got
TJ at?
Troy, how you know, man? Always a pleasure to have you on with us.
Can you just do one thing? Can you just do one thing for me before y'all kick me off of the radio?
Sure.
Can you please admit to your fans, everyone's listening, that you truly wanted to play in the Big Ten?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you
TJ.
do that for your boy?
Go ahead, TJ.
No,
Go ahead, TJ.
Especially when you were playing, Troy, you came out, I believe, in '92. Man, the Big Ten was just smash mouth football. Absolutely not. Now, today's game, of course, but back then, absolutely not.
We're not talking about 92,
Oh, man, we had.
Come on, bro.
Stop it,
Throw
bro.
the ball.
No.
They throw the ball in the Big Ten, bro.
No, that man ain't back.
They throw the
Even
ball in
when
the Big
Plex
Ten.
was playing, it was I formation. Let's run, play action. Absolutely
Courtney
not.
Hawkins,
No,
stop
come on,
it. Andre Rison,
Yeah.
Desmond Howard. Can you just please admit
man.
real
Don't
quick?
do
I
me
don't want
like
to take
that.
up no
David
much
Boston.
more airtime.
Come on, D. Miller. Come on. Come on.
No,
Just
no,
say,
absolutely.
just say,
Hey,
TJ's
now
a
that I
hater.
think about it,
I'm amongst some Big Ten greatness
yes, you
right
are.
once
now.
you said
Can you
that,
just
Troy,
admit-
it really hit me. It's really crazy that LaVar, Big Ten.
Yeah.
Plaxico, Big Ten.
Yeah.
Now here, Mr. Troy
Wisconsin,
Vincent.
Penn State,
Big
Michigan
Ten.
State. Yeah, it just is what it
just
is.
hit
It
me.
just is what it is. man.
Absolutely not. That's why in the old days, the Pac-10, that's why we used to smash the Big Ten in the
I
Rose
don't
Bowl.
recall that.
No.
I don't
Let's beat
recall
y'all
that
every
at
year.
all.
We let y'all get a win every blue moon.
I don't recall that, not one bit. And I don't recall Oregon
remember
State being there
remember-
either.
I remember Penn State versus
Oregon, first play of the game, Kijana Carter, goodbye.
Ran over the free safety.
Hello.
Like, completely.
And
Goodbye.
Ron Dane ran through UCLA. Hello.
I mean,
Ron
Dane.
Dane did do that.
Yes, he
I mean,
did. Yes, he did.
I'm with you when you're right.
Michigan
Stop it.
with Anthony Thomas did the same exact thing as
We're
as
not
well.
talking about Michigan. We're not talking.
I'm sorry, but I had to bring it up. Anyway, Troy, let's get down to business here, man. Listen, NFLPA, they agreed to modify the COVID-19. This was like a car accident, like the way I just turned on a dime like this. But you know what? I just want to get into getting some of this information out there and maybe dispelling some of the conversation points that have been narratives that have been developing in terms of the idea that it's almost like a dictatorship to get the COVID-19 vaccination and the protocols surrounding it. Can you just start us off with shedding some light on why the NFL is taking the stance with the protocols, with COVID-19, with the vaccination, with players, and just kind of give us some color on what that real narrative is?
Well, it's really pretty simple. I mean, I think we've had some people kind of maybe say some things that particularly wasn't accurate, but we played 17 weeks. We finished 256 games, no missed games, with protocols that were put in place by both leadership from the Players Association and leadership from our office, Dr. Seals, Dr. Mayer, and their group, who did a wonderful job. Wonderful job. The protocols going into the off season are the same. It's a voluntary off season. Not sure why that's gotten so much play. It's always been that way. That's nothing new. It was voluntary when we played. And those who want to choose, there's some protocols that are set in place. There's not going to be a safer, healthier environment than the club facilities. Each of the coaches, each of those, we call them tier 1 and tier 2, the personnel that is dealing with the player, the athlete, he or she has to be fully vaccinated or they cannot work inside the building. And then you have players that are coming in that if they choose to work out, again, it's voluntary. So the protocols are in place, protocols from the CDC and those who got us through a wonderful season last year. So, again, there's been a whole lot of talk about what it is, what it isn't. And then on the vaccination education, clubs are doing vaccination days to educate for people to make an informed decision for those who want to be vaccinated and those who don't. But there's daily education. There's vaccination days that's being taken place if those choose to. Your family members that live with you that are eligible. So, I mean, we felt like a year ago there was a great partnership, and it still is, around this area. But again, hey, off-season's voluntary. Those are going to show up. When you show up, you know there'll be a secure environment for you to work out and hone in on your skills.
Okay. Troy, with the draft being next week, and for those that don't know, I was a believer in Troy's leadership way back when I was playing, when he should have been in a position that we're not going to discuss, but he knows where I'm going with that. You being just a natural leader, let's talk. Is this the new normal now, or will we eventually get back to the National Football League? Like I said, the draft is next Thursday. Fans attending, the players attending, families attending, or will this year be more of the new normal where it's still caution when you're talking about inviting these kids out and their families out to a moment that doesn't come around very often and not for many?
So what we learned last year, because we were forced, there was some forced learning that we saw that worked. What worked? Being able to go in households that we typically wouldn't go in. Being able to celebrate almost 200 student athletes or prospects rather than just the 20 or the 25 that are local on site. Being able to see at the clubs level, which we got a lot of pushback. Nope, we can't do it. We can't evaluate it. There's no way I can do my job. The clubs did a wonderful job. People saw head coaches, general managers, club owners, club personnel people in a different light with their children hanging around, being dads, being moms, and still getting done, making the proper evaluation for your club. TJ, what has happened is COVID's allowed us to reevaluate everything that we do. This year we got, 13? I think 13, we'll have 13 prospects on site.
Right.
Everyone's vaccinated. We're expecting 50 to 55,000 fans a day. 4,000 to 5,000 will be on main stage. That's that vaccination fan zone. So I think it's the both and, not an either or. But what I really like and I enjoyed a year ago, I think we as a staff, being able to celebrate more of the athletes and their families right from home. And I think that's special. You have, you got the little red carpet, come across the stage, you bear hug, whatever you want to do, you knuckle bump. But then also we were able to celebrate so many more in their environment, which I thought was special.
That was frowned upon. And at some point that was frowned upon for guys to not show up to the draft if they were a high draft pick. But some guys wanted to be fishing. Some guys wanted to be hanging out, barbecuing with the family. So now it created a whole nother entertainment aspect of the draft that maybe we weren't aware of, like you said, with the coaches and all that. That being said,
it was beautiful. Again, we didn't know. We were forced in it, and then we took a step back, led by Peter O'Reilly, head of our events. Hey, what can we do differently? What did we learn? Talking to the prospects, talking to their family. When we're inclusive in these decisions, LaVar, they're just good outcomes. Why? Because there's wins for everybody. And that's what we're doing this year. I'm happy to see the fans back. I mean, it was great last week at a spring football game, pulling up in the parking lot and seeing 35, 40,000 people. Like, it was refreshing. Like, this is all right.
Nothing like it. You forget about it.
Yeah.
Hey, Troy, I want to switch gears with you for a minute. I know you oversee the NFL operations, and I want to talk about the officiating. I think that it's been very inconsistent over the last couple of years. And I see, you guys got rid of the, reviewable pass interference. Last year you did it for 1 year and didn't got rid of it last season. And now you guys are thinking about, reviewing roughing the passer. So it brings me back to the New Orleans and the Rams game. When the officiating, is just so obvious, why can't we just have, somebody, in the higher ups, maybe, DC or maybe Gene or whoever those guys are, step in and say, you guys got it wrong. We got to fix it. And, it's one of those plays where, it stops the New Orleans Saints from going to the Super Bowl. That penalty was so bad that why can't we just have somebody come in and say, you know what, you guys got this wrong. New Orleans is supposed to have the ball on the first yard line.
So, Plex, you're absolutely right. It was an egregious play, an egregious mistake. We believed over the last 2 or 3 years, and you mentioned the PI, which was a complete disaster. That's why the competition committee decided not to bring it forward again. The communication in itself and how the ref wants to be, as we engage with the ref is important for him or her to maintain control of the game. As a player, you want the game to be officiated on the field. You hear the coaches talk to us all the time. I don't want someone from New York making that decision. I don't want someone that's not in the stadium making that decision. But collectively, we can make the right decision. So we believe what was playing rule proposal number 4, which was the replay proposal this year. This gives New York, the ref, and the replay official in the stadium the ability, because we didn't have the ability legally in the policy, where we can inject ourselves on something that was improper. Line the game, was it a catch? But I do believe in taking the steps. Too much replay, Plex, is not good for the game.
Yeah.
I think we all would agree with that. It's just not good for the game. But we do want to get those clear and obvious things, those egregious plays. We want to get those right. We have to get those right, not just for the play, but for the game, the fan, and everyone. We believe what was proposed, led by Coach Reed and Coach Harbaugh, Walt Anderson, and Perry Fuel, that we're at a place now that we can administer really good communication in stadium, on the plane, in stadium, on the field, as well as New York assisting. What we saw, hey, where to pick it up? Nope, this was a foul. This is where it occurred. Nah, he missed him. We believe that the playing rule proposal number 4, which was presented by the competition committee, coaches subcommittee, and the Ravens, is a good start in that direction. But every year, let's take it back now. We can go back to Detroit, Tampa. The game is going to have those plays, the Dez Bryant, but it takes plays like that for us to, and they're not a lot, for us to sit back as an organization, as a team, and say, okay, how do we fix that? We thought we had that fixed when we talked about the PI penalty 2 years ago. That didn't work. It was a complete disaster. So,
talking to Troy
we
Vincent.
feel like we're in a good place, Flex.
Talking to Troy Vincent, Executive Vice President of Football Operations for the National Football League. Troy, we got a couple more questions before we let you go. One that I'm going to throw out at you is, we talked about the Big Ten, talked about college when we started off the conversation. One thing, you're going to have different opinions one way or the other. Some people are going to say more professional. I like more professional. I want it to be more professional. Some are going to say it could have been a little bit more relaxed. I hated all the rules surrounding the way we had to wear our uniforms when I played. I felt like it impacted the way that I played. I wanted to wear my streamer the way I wanted to wear my streamer. I wanted to wear the shoes that I wanted to wear. I wanted to wear my socks the way that I wanted to wear my socks. I felt like it impacted the way that I played on Sundays because
you didn't want to sign a GLA.
I didn't want. That was different. That was different. I mean, I just thought I was ahead of my time on that one. But with that being said, I'm wondering with this relaxation of the jersey numbers, if I could have worn a number that I wore in college, I know I'd have been a better player. I just would have felt better about myself. I would have made more plays. We would have beat Philly way more times than what we did in Washington when you were there in Philly and I was in D.C. It seems as though the league is getting a little bit more aware of the fact that swag is okay. Like I see the different types of shoes. I'm jealous of it. I see the uniforms are evolving and the way things are being done, Troy. So now this jersey number deal. I don't understand the buying out your inventory part, and you could explain that one. But just having the opportunity to actually wear your college number when you get to the league, what went into the thought process of relaxing the number situation?
So good question. Remember, playing rule, this was a club playing rule proposal. This wasn't the league.
Okay.
This was a club playing rule proposal. The league can only be part of a playing rule proposal from a committee, competition committee proposal, health and safety. So this was actually presented. This was a Kansas City Chiefs playing rule proposal, where last year you had to expanded rosters, where you had the ability to, within an hour, bring somebody up from what we call that ready COVID ready roster, and you run out of numbers. So that was some of the the impetus around the why. And then also you had the side where, we only talked about, that was the club competitive side. But guess what? That's a reality. Man, I got a big 300-pounder wearing a number 6 in college.
I love it.
So it's,
I love it.
You get the player piece, you get what we need to run the club, run the sidelines on the competitive side. I think it's going to be good. Mm-hmm. Now, there's inventory. You just talked to that. So as you know, clubs, players have built their brand on a number. That's how people identify them. Man, if you got an inventory of thousands and thousands of jerseys that's been printed on your behalf, somebody, there needs to be some time to be able to get those off the shelf or get that from an inventory. Mm-hmm. So, working with the Players Association and the clubs on that we'll see that. I mean, you're already seeing players post about numbers that they want to go back to. I saw Dalvin Cook talk about going back to, I think he's number 4 at Florida State. So I think it's interesting. And as we well know, your numbers do, you kind of feel the it matter. They do matter.
It matter.
Because he wanted to wear number 11.
Well, that's why I wore 56. 5 plus 6 equals 11.
If he wore number 11, they would have beat the Philadelphia.
Yeah, we would have beat the Eagles. We would have beat them.
Man, you could have worn number 1. You could have worn number 80. You could have worn number 55. Well, no way y'all was going to do nothing with us. We was ripping through y'all yearly.
Troy, let's move on from this last question.
Go ahead, TJ. Talk to him.
Deshaun Watson. Obviously, with him being one of the best players in the NFL and what's going on, how will the league navigate themselves and Deshaun Watson through basically what's going on? Simple.
So I think we've learned a lot. I've been part of it. From Ray Rice on, let's just say fast forward on how we look into violence against women, or the allegations of violence against women. Lisa Friel heads up our investigations there. Every case, TJ, is different. And rather than assuming or jumping out there, you get all the facts in. Lisa will now come back to our leadership team. Here are the facts. And then you can determine the appropriate accountability, if any. I'm just praying for the young man personally today. I'm praying for him and his family. I'm praying for the young ladies that have came out. This is not good for anybody. Forget the sport. But I think we've learned that every situation is different. They're delicate. You make sure that both, whether it's the accuser, the victim, whoever it may be, that there's a due process in place. And I think we've learned that over time, not that we've rushed in the past, but I think we've learned from the different cases that we've seen in this particular subject matter, that the due process takes care of itself, and then that's up to Lisa and her team to now make the proper recommendations to what direction the commissioner and the commissioner's office should take.
Mm-hmm. Troy, is there anything that you're promoting before we let you go? We so do appreciate you taking a little bit of time away from your wife and your home duties and chores. The
only thing I would promote, I love what I'm hearing here.
Appreciate
you all are my peers and what you all do. As you know, I listen to you on both Saturdays, Sundays when I'm driving.
Yep.
Keep doing what you all are doing. you all build the game. Your credibility around the game is essential for the fans. You make myself in particular just so proud to see where you all were, men that I used to compete against. Now seeing you be the voice of the sport, of our sport, and how people view us, frankly, how people view us as individuals. Because oftentimes they cheer for us while we have the uniform on, and as soon as the uniform comes off, they don't value our opinions or value who we are. And I just thank you all for what you're doing and the platform that you have. So keep using it positively.
Man, we appreciate that, Troy.
Troy,
Appreciate it, Troy.
my brother. No
Yeah.
doubt.
Yeah, man.
Thank you all, man.
Indeed. That's Troy Vincent, Executive Vice President of Football Ops for the National Football League. That's a wonderful thing, man. And if you missed any of that, boy, y'all better make sure you go to the podcast, subscribe, check it out, listen to
Tell
it.
Tommy we're sorry. You're back to the yard work.
That's amazing. That's amazing. We appreciate you coming on.
Very informative, man. And, I came into the league in 2000, and, Troy Vincent was all-pro corner, one of the best I've ever played against. And he's always been professional. When I say professional, a professional man, on the field and off the field, man. And, the NFL operations is in great hands with him. And, it will only get better under his direction.
Yeah, he's going to run the NFL. He's going to be the commissioner. I'm calling it today.